As I said previously, when we're looking at assets, we want to see that the company is using them to earn sales and revenue, sales and profits. And that's, for many companies, that's the key to success, is to utilize your assets as efficiently as possible in order to improve sales and profits. And you always want to look at what's called turnover to see how well a company does this. And it's something, it drives me crazy because I find that it's just not in the curriculum very much. We always talk about profits, and we talk about returns on investment, but we don't talk about the key role that turnover plays. You want to use your assets as productively as possible. With accounts receivable, that means that you want to collect them quickly. With inventory, that means you want to sell inventory quickly. You want to keep the right amount of inventory in stock, and then you want to sell it as soon as you possibly can. You want to have enough inventory so that your customers have selection, but not too much inventory, because if you have too much, it could spoil, it could become obsolescent, it could get damaged, all kinds of things can happen to it. And plus, if excess inventory, it requires an investment. You have to pay for it somehow, right? So you want to have just the right amount of inventory. And whenever you're looking at companies, you always want to look to see if they have the right amount of inventory and the right amount of PP&E. Companies have a certain amount of PP&E, and they must use this PP&E efficiently, productively. Are there buildings that are empty? Is there office space the company just doesn't use? Are there factories there that they don't need? Is there excess retail space that the company doesn't use? Go to Walmart again and look in that store. A well-run Walmart store, every inch of the floor is utilized. A better example is a supermarket. If you go to a supermarket, every inch of the sales floor is being used. It's a maximum benefit. So the measure for this, for PP&E, is what's called PP&E turnover. Sales divided by average PP&E. And average PP&E is going to be net of accumulated depreciation. And this is another key ratio that you're going to need in order to understand a company's operations. So you want a higher PP&E turnover, and that indicates that the company is using what it has in an efficient way. And it's ultimately going to drive profitability because your PP&E is there to drive sales and profits. So the better you are at doing that, the more profitable you're going to be. So if there are ways that you could shuffle your assets around to make them more productive, you should always do that. Now there are some companies that are in industries that are very capital intensive. They got to have a lot of fixed assets. And those companies are going to have a low PP&E turnover. Those are going to be like old kinds of companies like manufacturers and so on. High-tech companies can function with very, very little PP&E. Think about a company like Google. What does Google need to have that's tangible? It needs to have office buildings and computer servers. That's pretty much it. So when we look at PP&E turnover, we're always thinking about how productively the company used it. A great example of this, by the way, just one that you can relate to, is Seton Hall. So one of the amazing things about Seton Hall is Monday through Thursday, every classroom is utilized during the day. If I wanted to use a classroom for a meeting, can't get it. But Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, the campus is empty. Same thing with the summer. Right now I'm recording this in summertime, and you could go to campus and the whole campus is empty. That's bad management, because what you would want is you'd want to use the assets not only 4 days a week, but 7 days a week, 12 months out of the year. Use your assets as much as you possibly can to generate revenues and profits. Another measure is PP&E useful life. This is how old is your PP&E. You take depreciable asset cost and divide by depreciation expense. And this would give you an idea of how many years your assets have to go. Don't do this for land. Sometimes you may see construction in progress. Don't use that either. But you want to use the depreciable asset cost mainly of your property, plant, and equipment. And you want to see if the assets are relatively new. Because companies with old assets are not as productive as they could be. And those assets are going to need to be replaced. And replacing those assets is probably going to cost a lot of money. A similar measure is PP&E percent used up. This is the percentage of the depreciable assets that have already been hit the income statement, i.e. as depreciation expense. And this is the portion of the assets that have already been depreciated and they're considered to be less useful. I don't think this mixture is very useful, but here it is. Percent used up, accumulated depreciation divided by depreciable asset cost. So what this is going to help you do, it says, is it's going to be interested for forecasting future cash flows. If depreciable assets are 80% used up, then they're going to need to spend money on more assets later on. I would say you get that from useful life. If you see the useful life is short, then the company needs to invest in more assets, and that's going to cost money. So ends Module